Oh, well, hello there again, friends and family. So glad to see you. It's been a while. Yeah, you're a little early for supper. Don't be looking over there. That's for later tonight. If you're nice, yeah, some of you drop back by later. Might show you what we're doing and what we're cooking up. I might even share. What I want to talk to you about today is something that came to mind while I was getting ready to put some of my open cans away. Because what I'm going to be doing this year is concentrating a little more on recycling. I don't know if you know it, but there are, issues with things with cans, primarily aluminum. So, yep, I'm washing out cans. Now, these particular cans, which I've used in 2 past videos, one was, my black-eyed peas and greens for New Year's Day. The other one, the ones there from old El Paso, fine friends there, those were from I Run to the Border, where I showed you how to make a delicious treat from back in the past. Yeah, the Taco Bell and churrito. But here again, if you haven't watched those videos, maybe you'll give them a try. They were both yummy and quite inexpensive. And that sort of gets them down to where we're going now. You see, food prices are now insane again. Pretty much like they were for us old boomers back in the late 70s, throughout the 80s, and even into the mid 90s. Yep, you can look all that up. Yeah. Things were rather insane then too, but here we are. So, as many of you know, on occasion, I do these videos of just how long does it last. And I've showed you some pretty amazing things as far as your food storage and just how long it will last and still be yummy. And to date, I have not died, nor anybody here that's ate here has died. My children, my grandchildren, my friends and family, or had any intestinal discomforts. Yep. But let's talk about this a little bit. I like canned goods. Yeah. For 2 different types of my food storage, which I've been practicing now since, I would say, the late 70s. And that was based on personal events in my life where I lost income for whatever reason, and I learned as long as you have food, that's a major thing that you no longer have to worry about and struggle for. You don't got to go to the food bank. You don't got to go ask the government for none of them their food stamps or bother your family or friends. Let's take a look at this. This is the Margaret Holmes seasoned collard greens. Yeah. And I got this out of my pantry. And another thing I'll say before we go any further is number 1 rule is always best practice. Rotate, rotate, rotate. But things in your life may change. Such have changed in my life from time to time. And what would that be? Well, like I say, I've been practicing food storage ever since the late 70s, as money was available. And circumstances change. Let us say that we're storing food for a certain number of people. And that being maybe your children, your grandchildren, your spouse, and friends. And situations change where kids are grown. They're up on their own. They're out and about, and they're doing fine. Maybe you lost a spouse. Maybe you ain't got so many friends no more. Yeah, we all know how that comes about as we get older, right? Phone don't ring as much, and people hardly ever stop by. But what I've always done is I've tried to cover my direct family. The kids, the wife, and my grandson. And that's what I've done ever since the day he was born. And a couple of close friends. So maybe 5 or 6 people. And I've worked on this particular food storage that I now have for, I would say, since 2006. Constantly adding to, constantly using. Here again, all during that time period, people came and went. But now, it's down to just me. And my goal was to always have at least 1 year's supply of shelf-stable foods for 1 year. And then, once I got that done, based on things that happened in 2008 and 2009, I bumped that up to 2 years. Yeah. Here again, basically for 5 people. And then the pandemic of 2020 took place. And I thought, well, that could go, way south. Might not be no more food no more. And I stepped my game up again. But then here we are. Yeah, there's some spot shortages. Depends on what time you go and where you go is what will be there and what won't. But overall, there's something there to eat. So I sort of wish I hadn't spent what money I did in 2020 to bolster my already food storage plan. But with all that said, what I want to talk about is how long do these things last? And some things you need to look out for and be aware of, when you're maybe looking at something that's a little bit past its prime. And understand there is no such thing as expiration date on any foods in the U.S. The only thing required by the FDA and USDA to have an expiration date is baby formula. Fact, not fiction. And I don't care what your talking head is still calling them expiration dates. They're best buy dates. And those are done totally without regulation by the companies that produce the food. And what they say is that's for best quality. Yep. With all that, let's take a look at this Margaret Holmes seasoned collard greens. Yeah, I already ate them. Ate them all. Not only as a side, but I used what remained in my New Year's Day black-eyed peas and collard greens I put together. And what you want to do, and you won't be able to see totally, is you're going to look down in the can. And you're going to make sure there's no rust. When the cans get a little older, and you'll see how old this one is, you might want to dump them out in a bowl first, rinse out what remains, and put an eyeball on that can. Of course, when you opened it, you should have been using your eyes. Did you see any foaming? Anything that didn't look right? Any cloudiness? Yeah, if you didn't see any of that, yeah, that's the first sign. And then you got to use that nose. And if yours ain't working real good, get somebody's whose is. And do the sniff test. If you don't smell nothing off, soured, rancid, oh, you'll know when you open a bad can. And then you look for surface rust on the outside. Of course, if there's a little surface rust, but it hasn't penetrated to the inside, it's still good to go. So, when was the best buy date on these Margaret Holmes? March 2014. Do you see that? I hope you do. So yeah, when I use these, yep, they were a little over 6 years, or no, 8 years past their best buy. And I couldn't tell a bit of difference. So yep, I consumed them. And even now the FDA, and I'll put a link to what they've got to say, to their website are now admitting that using proper storage methods, cool, dark, dry place, temperatures below 85, canned goods not dented or rusting. You got to watch that environment down here in the south. We're high humidity. Yep, cans can rust, and that'll kill them over time. But they can say they'll last indefinitely, but they may suffer from some nutritional and quality loss. But then we had the Lux black-eyed peas, and you can see in that can, no rust, no discoloration. You know, we used our eyeballs. There wasn't no foam, no clouding. They look fine. Yep, smelled fine, looked fine, tasted fine. So when was this Best Buy day? No, this is a youngin'. May the 30th, 2019. Yep. So these were only, what, 3.5 years past? No problem. The other can of Lux, see what they say. Well, they were even younger. Best Buy October the 9th, 2019. And those were used, like I say, on New Year's Day. And here I am, living proof I didn't die. Then we're going to get to the old El Paso. Yep. Traditional refried beans. And I'll tell you what, if you haven't watched that video about an enchilada, oh, it's tasty. Of course, you can jazz it any way you want to. And it's very economical. And overall, once you get your hamburger brown, extremely easy to prepare. So, what was our refries? Oh man, these were really new. 16th of September 2021. Man, these were only a year and a half. You know? Past their Best Buy. Nothing wrong. Here again, nothing looked out of the ordinary. Nothing smelt. No soured. No rancid. Nothing bubbling up. No rust in the cans. Nothing wrong whatsoever. And the last one here was Old El Paso red enchilada sauce. We went through the same spiel. We looked for rust, discoloration. We used our eyeballs. Nothing looked out of the normal. We sniffed. Everything seemed fine. And then we looked at the date. And these, Best Buy, was August 23rd of 2020. So, you know, they're about 2.5 years old. Past their Best Buy. And they were totally, this was totally fine. And I consumed all of this. And all of the old El Paso. As well as the seasoned collards. And the Lux black-eyed peas. But yeah, I know people were typing away saying, oh boy, I'll make sure to rotate. Well, then they didn't listen to circumstances and life change. No, and I'm not going to throw it away. I'm going to use the eyes that I was given, the nose I was given, and common sense and knowledge to judge if it's still edible, safe to eat, and still yummy. And I understand there may be some nutrient loss. I'm going to tell you something about that nutrient loss while we're here talking about it. Because the youngins and people with agendas give canned goods a really bad rap. They surely do. They don't have the vitamins or mineral content of fresh. Well, no, they don't. But without canned, back in the day, and still to this day, a whole lot of people wouldn't be here anymore without canned goods. You see, the grocery stores, supermarkets, and big box places that we all walk in now and expect to see everything there every day fresh didn't exist. They didn't exist in the 19th century or the 20th century up until starting sometime in the mid-80s. When all of us went to the grocery store with our moms and pops and great-grands and grands, no, you weren't going to find fresh collard greens 365 days out of the year. You weren't going to find fresh apples, oranges, grapes, tomatoes, any of that. You'd find some storage root crops, turnips, potatoes, carrots, parsnips, rutabagas. You wouldn't be finding no green onions. You'd find onions. Lettuce, good luck. And other fresh greens, because they just weren't there. No. That is all evolved to what we have now. And we're all spoiled. We all think that's the way the rest of the world is too. Well, unfortunately, better than half of the world has nothing like it. No. But if this here food inflation, which hasn't been 7 or 10%, it's been more like anywhere from 70 to over 700, depending on what you're buying. Eggs, lettuce, to name two that have went past insanity. Yeah. Or you're just down on your luck and you're scraping through the cupboards. It's good to know what you need to know to tell if the food you have on hand and where you found is safe to eat and still can be yummy. Yep. And yeah, that's what I want to reiterate again, primarily to my children and my grandchildren and close friends and family. Open, look, smell, pour it out, rinse out the cans, inspect your cans, and proceed. You see, that's not being dangerous. That's proceeding with experience and knowledge instead of fear. So y'all, I just wanted to go over this again since I had some cans here that I will be putting in a bag, and along with many more this year in my meager effort to do some recycling. No, I can't tell you. So I actually make it. And I don't care. I'll make a few pennies. I'm sure it won't cover the effort. But it'll make me feel better about trying to make a contribution to make it all the more better for those that come after me. So yeah, we got to put these in the bag, and we're going to be cooking up something later this evening. So let me know if you're stopping by so I can know how much more to cook. And y'all, till we see you again on the next video, you know, me, Gracie, the Kitty Crew, Spooky, Speedy, you know, old Crunchy Cleo, and Mr. Gray, sometimes Heathcliff. Y'all take care. Stay safe. And God bless you as you have blessed those in your lives. Goodbye for now. Gracie, did you have anything to say? Huh? You don't got nothing to say? Where's your sidekick, Lilybet? You know how worried I get when you two are not together and you're not supervising her. She's climbing up the curtains again. Woo! Yeah. Yeah, you're enjoying your Purina cat chow complete. I'm happy. Well, we gotta wash out your other bowl so we can give you your wet later tonight. I love you. You love Papa? Oh, later on. You caught me talking to my favorite kitty.